Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. You know what? Let's start with Abigail. Let's start with Abigail because she just really pissed me off throughout this entire episode. First of all, after because we had to sit there and watch Gwen fall down the stairs again, which is like the fourth or fifth time. So after she falls down the stairs again, Abigail just stands at the top of the stairs looking like an idiot. So they call, they want to call in the ambulance or whatever. They get down there. At some point, Chad is not there talking to Abigail. Now, Abigail is getting heavily defensive, talking about, well, why are you looking at me like that? You're looking at me like I'm a bad person. Sweetheart, you pushed a pregnant woman down the stairs. What other way are we supposed to sit there and look at you? I'm confused. I'm at a loss. And that was her attitude throughout the entire time. Then she's standing like, oh, I hope she's okay. I hope she's like, Abigail, shut the hell up. Like, literally, you should be worried about a couple of things, like, going to hell, going to jail, and just having your family look at you like the POS that you are. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to give Gwen a free pass because what she's doing is, well, it's just terrible. But that doesn't absolve Abigail of the nasty, terrible things that she was sitting there saying about her niece or nephew. So she's being all super defensive, and, Chad's like, alright, so tell me what happened. Start from A, B, and go all the way to Z. So she retells the whole story about how she was talking to Chad, but she was talking to Gwen, and Gwen was like she wanted to sit there and see you, and you didn't want that to happen, and then they stop halfway through. Now, there's some point, we're all in the waiting room, and, I can't tell the look on Abigail's face, like, is she worried? Is she just, kind of, bored? Like, ugh. I know it's going to be an all-day thing. I know I kind of got that line from A Million Little Things, but that's literally the look that she had on the face, like it was some sort of inconvenience or something. So, after the doctor, examines Gwen and kind of tells Jack to kind of wait outside, they're waiting outside. Doctor comes in, doctor's like, listen, I can't sit there and tell you how, she wants to sit there and be the one to tell you. So one person at a time, Chad goes in there. Chad talks to Gwen. This is when Gwen is like, yeah, I lost the baby. And it's because of Abigail that pushed me down the stairs. Well, she didn't say it. She was like, it's because of Abigail. And I was like, this is par for the course for Gwen. Now, this woman, I feel like sometimes it's like every time I feel like she just can't sink any lower. And just when I was actually starting to like her a little bit and her whole redemption arc thing, and granted, I didn't fully like her because of what she did with Chad, and that's RAP, yada yada yada, but the point is, I was like, maybe she's, getting with Jack and whatever, they can have a daughter-father relationship. 1 second. But she goes from doing what I didn't like what she did to Chad to now using her dead baby to get revenge on Abigail. Now, granted, Abigail said some really terrible stuff, and I mean, it was bad. It's like Abigail just had a black soul kind of bad. Still, you would sit there and think the best way you can honor your unborn child or whatever, your deceased child, and this is the way you go about it? What? So honestly, to tell you the truth, they're both trash. Okay? They're both trash at this point. Um, but yeah, Abigail walks in the room. Now this is when, Chad's there talking to Gwen. And Abigail walks into the room, and I'm just like, sweetheart, why are you walking in here for? Like, why are you walking in her room? What are you, nuts? Or you just really just give no F's at this point? What is it? So she walks in there, and that's when, Gwen is like, yeah, she pushed me down the stairs. She's the reason I lost my baby or whatever. And it just kind of ends there, and I'm just like, you know what? You are trash. Because to be honest, listen, we all know it's a lie. Okay, we all know that Abigail did not push her down the stairs. We all know that Abigail was not responsible for the loss of her baby, and that was way before. But to be honest, it's hard for me to feel bad for her because just the nastiness that she came. Listen, I get that Gwen done some terrible things to you. And I understand the hatred. I really do. But the stuff that she said was like, you're just as bad as her. Actually, to tell you the truth, you're kind of worse. Because she's pregnant with your niece or nephew, and you said just the most terrible things someone can actually say to another human being. Let's just be real. Now, one step. Where were we? Oh, Sammy was talking to Marlene, and I'm not gonna lie, this was one of those scenes where it's like, I understood that the actresses or whatever were contracted to have a certain amount of episodes, but I'm gonna be honest with you, this felt like it was like they were not needed in this episode. All that really happened was that Marlena told Sammy about John, John being an eyewitness towards Bella, as far as Bella shooting Charlie. Just pretty much updating her and everyone else on pretty much what happened. Now, granted, part of me wants to be like, Sammy, why do you, because, Sammy, like, she heard that, John got hypnotized by Marlena, and the tape was in the office, and somehow somebody got a hold of it. I'm sitting there thinking, Sammy, why did you not just ask your mother, why did you leave that evidence in your office for anyone can sit there and come in there? Now, I don't know if she even locked the door, but I don't think she locked the door. She didn't lock the door. She didn't even lock the damn door. I mean, I don't know if she locked the drawer or whatever, but she didn't lock the damn door. Point is, I felt like there should have been some more questions about what was going on as far as Marlena's head when she left that damn office. But Sammy just wanted to kind of comfort her mother or whatever, be like, hey, listen, I got you, and whatever. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not going to lie, besides that, it didn't really go anywhere. I can't think of anything that's important that happened, except for just told people to catch, who missed a couple episodes, this is what's happening. Okay, cool. Didn't work for me because I've been watching this for a while, but I understand. At one point, I was still new to the show, so I get it. Now, Ben is there talking to Jake, and pretty much all they're really they're talking about is Kate and how she broke up with him. Now, Ben did ask a very important question. I was like, wow, almost like a light bulb just kind of struck up in this guy's head. When Jake was like, yeah, when Jake was like, yeah, I told her that I was jealous of Gabby going out with Jake. Gabby going out with Philip. And Ben was like, well, why would you tell her that for? Like, are you, you know what I'm saying? Like, basically it was like, yo, do you still have feelings for her? It was like, do you have feelings for her? And, I don't remember if he said yes or no, but he was like, my heart is still with Kate. And I was like, Ben, you actually asked an important question. Jake, why would you actually tell her that you are jealous of your ex flame being with someone else? If you have feelings, like, I'm not gonna lie, that really makes no sense. Yeah, I get the whole telling the truth, being honest with each other. I get that, I respect that, but unfortunately there's such a thing as a little bit too honesty, about having too much honesty. I mean, let's be honest. No one tells everyone the truth all the time, When we see each other, when we see normal strangers or whatever, or you at work and somebody talk to you, it's like, oh, how you doing today? You don't sit there and be like, well, actually, to tell you the truth, I'm doing pretty crappy. I lost $20 and this, that, and the third. Like, no one sits there and tells them the actual truth. So I felt like maybe that was something that you could have kind of just kept to yourself, because if you were going to act on it, then it really wouldn't have mattered. So, besides that, Ben just wants to keep the conversation on Jake and his problems, so that way he can avoid his own problems, which they wound up talking about that as far as Sierra going to Johannesburg and with Theo the Snake, and yeah, so he's upset about that, but he was like, yo, listen, I don't even want to talk about that because I'm gonna just lose it. So Ben is like, listen, if you love Kate, fight for her. First of all, he was like, decide on which woman you want, which girl you want, and then fight for them. Period. So Ben goes back to his place, and he just... The sad thing is that I don't want to call it a temper tantrum, but I don't know what else to call it. He starts off with him being mopey, then he looks at the picture of him and Sierra, then he just trashes his own room. And I'm like, bro, you do realize that Jake actually gave you that room, right? I mean, like, I get that he's rich, but, like, what? Okay. Listen, I totally get the heartbreak, the heartache, the anger, the feeling like you don't know how you're going to get through the next day without that person in your life. I get that, but trashing your room, like, man, I think you might need to sit there and talk to Marlena again. Start having some more sessions, like anger sessions, because that, listen, if you were like 15 or 16, I can get it, but bro, you are literally a grown-ass man. And you just trash your whole place, like... Mopey Ben. What else we got? So, Kristen, pretending to be Kate, is not there talking to Roman. Now, Roman's like, so, I know you just dumped, Jake and all, so, you want to get together? Like, bro, why don't you give it like I don't know, a month? Maybe? Like, show a bit of decorum or something. Jesus Christ, like, it's literally been under an hour, and you just saw her break up with somebody, and you're just like, so, you want to get together? So, he pretty much asked that question, and, Kristen being Kate is like, yeah, like, you always be special for me, special to me, yada, 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 but, yeah, it's not happening. And pretty much, I don't exactly remember what she said, but she said something that was kind of rude and just kind of walked off. And Roman was like, what the hell was that? So he goes back to Philip and Gabby. Now, Gabby was happy in the office or whatever about Kate and everything like that. So they want to go out to a lunch date or whatever. And Roman's like, yeah, Kate dumped Jake, and Jake wasn't too happy. And he started manhandling her, and I had to step in, and he walked away. And at this point, Rome leaves, and Gabby is just happy, she's smiling, she's just trying to, like, hold it in. And Philip's like, listen, why don't you just, you know what, do you, Just do you. Just forget the whole lunch thing, just do you. Go after Jake. You obviously want to be with him, and of course she's all like, oh, well, I'm not going to get back together with him. And of course, they, Jake is also something that they're talking about Gabby, and both of it comes across as pride. So, Philip is like, listen, I'm going to just go back to the office and get some work done. The stuff that you weren't doing all day. yeah, I'm gonna do that. So thank you for that, and awesome. So Gabby finished up, I guess, her lunch or whatever. She goes back home. She runs into Jake. Now Jake isn't there calling out Kate's name or whatever. They get into a bit of an argument a little bit. You know, Gabby's kind of gloating. Oh, Kate dumped you and yada yada yada. This, that, and the third. Now, this is the second time that when Jake was like, "What did you do to like? Did you talk Kate out of going out with me? Like, did you talk her out of our relationship? Like, well, what did you say to her? Pretty much, accusing her of saying something, doing something." He grabs Gabby's wrist, and I'm like, "Bro, this is the second time in this day, in this one day, that you just manhandled someone." And I don't know. Listen, this look doesn't look good on 2021. Didn't look good back in 1998 or any year before then. I'm like, this is the second time that you have actually grabbed a woman by their arm when they want to walk away. I can't be the only person that just feels just unsettled by that whole image. So Gabby's like, listen, if you don't get your goddamn hands off of me, I'm throwing hands pretty much. You know, she's like, I'm gonna slap you. He lets go. They kind of go their separate ways. I don't know about Jake sometimes. I really, really, really don't. I'm just not a fan of that scene. Or just people doing that in general. Now Kristen gets back and she's talking to Kate, which Kate has been locked up since, I don't know. They're doing this whole rinse and repeat thing. So Kristen gets back and Kristen's like, yeah, I dumped Jake, and you know, you're going to be going to a private island, so don't worry about it. I'm going to come back and get some so you can sleep or whatever, and you'll be somewhere like far away from here. So, and also Roman talks to Philip, and he pretty much is like, yo, seriously, sometimes with Kate, I feel like I'm talking to two different people. Now granted, this is before the whole Kristen being Kate or whatever. Anyway, I think that's about it. Now, one thing that I should sit there and mention, and this is from, since I got my phone out, I gotta actually point out his, one second. Now, I was actually on, in the comments section of, I think his name is Phoenix, who puts out these spoilers. And I want to sit there and double check whatever this is, because he put out a spoiler of basically he put out a spoiler of Chanel kissing Allie. And I'm just like, and granted, this is in the thumbnail, so I'm sitting there looking or whatever, and I'm just like, what? What? What is that? What is that? What's going on? I mean, don't get me wrong. Listen, I think Chanel is trash. I'm not complaining about this scene whatsoever. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page as throwing out like these false stories or whatever. I'm not saying that's what this guy is doing. I'm just wondering, is this like an actual thing? Like, Chanel's going to be kissing Allie. Like, is that going to be a thing? Or, like, listen, again, I'm totally for that image. Now, I also think Chanel's trash, and I don't think anyone should want to touch that woman with a 10-foot pole. But, whatever. So I'm going to sit there and try to dive into the promos and see what that's about, because I probably want to sit there and say it's interesting, but Chanel being who she is, it just kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of takes the fun out of it a bit, but that's just me. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I will see you in the next video.